Thank you very much. I felt a little bit like the unknown soldier at the beginning, but first I would like to thank Dr. Pachori for inviting me and the Planet Workshop to participate in such a prestigious panel. It's a real honor for me and for the Planet Workshops, which, as you mentioned, I co-founded with my associate, Eric Bazin. I do not know what will come out of Rio +20, but one thing is sure is that for the first time ever, all stakeholders are taken into consideration in the preparation process. Now, the question is, will they be taken into consideration in the decision-making process? Because that's where the problem relies. How to structure and articulate the participation of all stakeholders. Now, you might know that at the Planet Workshops, we participate in the circulation of stakes and solutions to fight climate change, as well as the promotion of sustainable development and the reinforcement of dialogues between all stakeholders. We develop programs, we organize conferences, the next one being the third International Forum on Green Business in Congo, and of course the global conference in Evian every year in September. In all cases, what we do, because we feel it's extremely important, is we make sure that governments, institutions, private companies, and civil society are at the same time at the same table. As we all know, if we all gathered here today, it's because we understand the emergency of the situation. And as we've been underlining for many years at the Planet Workshop, we're convinced that part of the answer to our problems relies on the emergence of solutions from the African continent. A continent responsible for only 4% of the gas emission, but which carries the burden more than anyone else. Having said that, what should be done and how? The Rio Agenda puts eradication of poverty and growth on a green economy on top of its priorities. As far as Africa is concerned, it represents a real opportunity for everyone, but it will only occur under the condition that it first profits Africa. As it was mentioned yesterday during various panels, the solution will come with the connection and empowerment of every layer of society. And as Dr. Pachori said, the very difficult to pronounce amalgamation of all initiatives, political, civil society, and private sector. Now, we're convinced at the Planet Workshops that the creation of local jobs through programs eradicating poverty and based on opportunities from the green economy is one key solution. This reinforces, of course, the resilience of local population through all the positive externalities of job creation, direct jobs, collateral employment, reinforcement of capacities, and empowerment of population. But this can only be done if everyone participates. The government, local and international companies, and local NGOs. Now, why is that? The first reason being that it's simply vital to understand the constraints and the expectation of each part if you want to go further. The other reason is that each part has a key role to play in the process. The governments, national and local, they set the frame and play the incentive role using any tools they can. The companies, well, they produce, they want to do business, and they can finance projects. And the NGOs, of course, well, they work close to the communities and help population adapt to climate change, so they know the local rules and problems better than anyone. So they are extremely important in the implementing process. I'll give you an example. We started a program in Nigeria with the association created by Pierre Rabhi on ecological agriculture, where we introduced natural agricultural techniques, especially in hostile environment like desert, What we do is we train trainees, local people of course, in order for them to transmit the know-how to their communities. The result for their communities are the following. We call it the 3 lesses and the 2 mores. Less financial process that was due to the purchase of artificial fertilizers, less gas emission because you have less importation, less desertification. On the other hand, you have more local trades, more jobs linked to the production, the storage, and the distribution of the product. All that, of course, in a cleaner environment. And for that project, we needed the okay and the help of the government. We needed the finance power of local and international companies, and we needed the knowledge of the local NGO in order to understand and be understood by all communities. But it worked. It works. And this can only be achieved by putting everyone around the table, which we permanently do. And of course, there is the partnership, which we're very proud of, with Terry on Light a Billion Lives in Africa, particularly in Niger to start with. By putting around the table Terry, the government, private companies, and local NGO, I repeat it because it's extremely important. You fight against energetic fracture using solar power. You favor the empowerment of women. You create local jobs. You fight against insecurity. And you favor education by allowing students to work after the sun is set. And education means development. Now, if we talk about management of natural resources to local institutions in order to reduce poverty to be in line with the R+20 objectives, we can take, for example, the palm trees, which can be controversial if badly managed, and it can happen. However, I know that Minister Jumbo, who I congratulate, by the way, for eradicating all plastic bags since January in Congo, which, on top of cleaning the environment, favors the creation of new jobs with basket making. So it's a win-win situation. Mr. Jumbo is setting up a project which will value the palm tree sector by multiplying its usage by and for all local users. Palm oil, palm wine, cosmetic, and of course, palm baskets with the nut fibers. We can also talk about the valorization of shea nut, like in Mali or in Burkina Faso. In just a few years, with that process, more than 4,200 jobs, mainly women, have been created in this sector. And you must know that for one woman working, you approximately have 9 people living. Now, the community-based resources management programs, there were programs launched all over Africa. They integrate local populations in natural resources management process. The result is extremely positive. It's obvious that when communities are involved, they feel more invested in their mission, and the programs are much more efficient because they get real and direct benefits. Job equals salary, salary equals better living, and development, which equals higher lifestyle. A perfect example of that is ecotourism. And many associations are created in order to implicate the population and community, and it reinforces what already exists, which is extremely important. The reason I've been saying that is that solution exists. The road is very long to reducing poverty, and to fight against climate change, but there are solutions, there are things already happening. There are people willing to not sacrifice, sometimes they do, but willing to work very hard, to invent, to reinforce what already exists. They work hard. So, as Arnold Schwarzenegger said yesterday, let's not wait anymore. I mean, it can really happen, and if you articulate the right way, the processes, we're convinced that it helps, and it can really present a solution.